Hello, my name is Preeti, and I would like to share with you on how I went from a C to an A student. Today, I'll be sharing about the techniques and tricks I've used to make sure that I get 100% on my math test or exam. So, initially, anxiety. So, when I had homework, I realized that I don't even know how, but I would find myself watching TV or like just my brain would be like pulling me towards doing different things. And one of the reason I realized is because of our fear of not able to do the homework. It's new, we've never done it. So the strategy I used was I made a list of three places I can go for help if I can't complete my math homework. So I would like internet or people. I would write down several phone numbers of classmate. And the third thing is um, family members. So three resources. I would have it written down in my math book of if I can't do my homework or if I need help, this is where I go. The thinking, the concept, homework versus test preparation. I I changed my concept when I do my math homework. It wasn't to show the teacher tomorrow. It was my notes for the preparation for the test or the anxiety. So that way I don't have to write more notes or when it's exam time or test time. I already have everything done. So I changed my mindset from doing homework to this is my preparation for the test coming. So that gave me a little more, I don't know, help me with confidence. Formula. So when I'm doing my homework, sometimes you have to memorize formulas for the test. So when I start doing my homework, I would write down each formula three ways to memorize it. So I'm a visual person, so I always have to have a picture, image of, create a picture out of the formula. Um, Poem, um, just different, whatever works for you, but visual, auditory, the more senses you use to memorize, the better it is. So try to use three different techniques. And you write those down in your homework book. The each formula and memorize it three different ways, especially if it's going to be on the exams, because you don't want to forget. If you forget from one area, you can always pull that information from the other two ways that you memorize the info. Um, Formula. So the homework. So usually in math, questions are divided into three: easy, medium, and hard. Your textbook, usually when the questions, when you start doing your homework, usually the easy questions are at the beginning, and then it goes to medium questions and then harder in the textbooks in here in US and Canada. So usually the questions, so say you're doing math homework. This is something very simple that I used. Whoops, it's not staying. It's not staying. Okay, I'll just hold it. Okay, so math questions, I divide them into easy, medium, and hard. Easy questions, 2 plus 2, 4. Simply, you take the formula, you apply it. Medium questions are you take the formula, you apply, but like the question is longer or it's larger numbers. So, for example, easy questions, 2 plus 2 is 4. Medium is 14 plus 16 is 30. Hard question is you use the formula from the homework, but then you have to use another formula from something you've learned from the past. So, for example, 12 plus negative 6 is 6. So this one, it's not just a plus, but you need to know the rules of when you have negative numbers, how to add negative numbers. So that's like two formulas in one. So that's why I consider it hard. Here, division, for example. Easy is 4 divided by 2 is 2. Medium, 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. Hard is 4 divided by 0 is undefined. Here, medium, the numbers are different. Easy is just you take the formula, you apply. The hard one, there's a formula. you apply, but then you need to remember a formula from the past. So when I do my homework, I make notes of why this is an easy question, this is a medium question, this is a hard question. For the hard and the tricky questions, I really put importance to the formula, that not the formula that you have to learn for that chapter, but the why it's tricky, why is it hard. So yeah, so when you're doing your homework, you write down that easy, medium, hard, why those questions are easy, medium, hard. Why is that important? Well, one is the more we organize the information, our brain understands it better and easier. The other thing is class average is usually 70%. So in that, usually 60% are the easy questions, 20% are the medium questions, and 20% are the hard questions. So say you have a question that's worth 4 marks and another question 8 marks. You know that the 8 mark has a trick to it. It's not just simply taking the formula and applying it. So when you're doing your math, the test, that also helps you out to make sure that you're getting the marks that you need for that question. Participation. So I read this one book from a professor in McMaster University from Canada, and the book was just your behavior. Few behavior changes I made, and it actually made a huge difference for me. Number one is just stare at the teacher the entire class. Make sure your homework is done for that class. And number 3 is put your hand up once every classroom. So as I started doing that, putting my hand up once in every classroom, staring at the teacher, every time the teacher looks at me, I nod my head to say like, hey, I acknowledge that I'm what you're saying. Yeah, so those techniques, as I started participating, my reputation in high school changed. Because before I didn't speak, so people thought I was dumb. But now that I would answer questions, people thought like all of a sudden I'm smart. The other thing was, as you stare at the teacher, as you nod at the teacher, whether you want to listen to the information, memorize it or not, you're visually seeing it. So somehow it registers in you. And the teacher is usually, the book said, the bias. If the teacher feels you're participating, he knows you, he'll be easier, or she will be easier on marking your test. Just the participation did make a difference in my grade. Try it out. Double check homework and test. That's really important. The homework you've done, you're going to use it to review later on, so you want to make sure it's correct. Your test, when your test is done, math is something that you can double check your answers and questions. So I always make sure that I double checked my homework and my test. Review for the test. So now, say you have a test. A week before, since every day you've been doing all the work, all I did is just review it. You could just keep reading everything as many times as possible. If you have time, you can write it out. But initially, I would just start with keep reading my notes again and again. Like all my homework, all the questions, easy, medium, hard questions, I would review them. I would review the formulas. I would read the formulas as many times as possible. Read the homework questions as many times as I can and understand why each is easy, medium, and hard. And then, yeah, try out more questions. And that's about it. That's how I ensured that I got good grades in math. Thank you.